How you doing today?
Very well, thank you. Very well.
So tell us a little bit about your books.
Well, I'm primarily an actor, but I've always wanted to write, and I've written a couple of novels which have been published, and of course my memoir about Doctor Who, Blue Box Boy, which I find absolutely fascinating. I find the process of writing very exciting and interesting. Difficult. I mean, it takes a lot of work, but really exciting and fascinating. Two novels set in New York City.
Very cool.
Fade's Flowers, which is a black comedy, and Vanitas, which is a lighter, airier thing. And of course, I wrote a book, Blue Box Boy, which is my best-known book about 2 years working on Doctor Who as one of Doctor Who's sidekicks.
Very cool. So what would you say goes into, as far as like what you put into it when you write it?
Well, the memoir, Blue Box Boy, was a memory piece. So it's a matter of sitting there literally for a year in our house, trying to remember things and to shape them into interesting and funny and unusual sort of narratives, so if I describe a moment on the set with Tom or a moment with Peter, it's written in a vivid enough way that you can kind of see it, you can see the moment occur. So it's a matter of remembering things and then trying to articulate them in a way that's interesting for a reader to read about. And sometimes when you're trying to do that, I didn't watch any of the episodes again. I know Doctor Who fairly well because I'd always liked it as a boy, but I didn't make a point of watching any of the programmes. So I wanted to see what do I remember. And that's what I essentially did. I sat there every year saying, what do I remember, what comes back? Sometimes not very much came back, and then suddenly something would come which would ignite a whole series of other memories. Cool. So that sometimes we'd get a huge amount of material from one memory triggering all the other memories. And it's a very exciting thing to do. It's very interesting for working with memory. Very fascinating.
Very cool.
The fiction, it's characters. The fiction characters come alive in my mind, and they engage in actions that lead to other actions. And they nag. My characters nag, and they insist on being written about. So the first heroine or anti-heroine in Fade's Flowers, a woman called Sarah Smith, she simply appeared in my head and began nagging me. She said, "You've got to write about me. I want you to write a book about me." So I had no choice. If you ever read the novel Fade's Flowers, you will find out that she's a very forceful woman, is Sarah Smith. So I really couldn't argue with her. And then the heroine of the second novel, Vanitas, a woman called Florinda Quimby, becomes the richest woman in New York in a completely unexpected way. She's more elegant than Sarah. Sarah's bossy and like that, and she's very much an English woman living in New York, doesn't really like New York and complains about it all the time. Whereas Florinda is kind of a cigarette-y woman who wants to be an actress. Doesn't ever become an actress for very long, but she does eventually become enormously well known.
So do you ever read comic books?
I grew up reading comic books, yes. I own a couple of original pages of Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby was my great comic book icon, and I really liked Steve Ditko, who did the early Spider-Man, and people like that. In Britain, the 60s Marvel comics were reprinted in the 70s as weeklies. So there's a thing called The Mighty World of Marvel, which I was reading in 1973 or 4, something like that, but they were the 60s strip, they were the Kirby strips, Kirby's Fantastic Four and Ditko's Spider-Man and Kirby's Hulk and so forth. And I really liked them. And I was thrilled to discover in my latest teens The New Gods, this extraordinary series that Kirby did for DC.
Darkseid, no?
Yeah, with that extraordinary villain, Darkseid. And Darkseid is one of the great comic book villains.
Absolutely.
One of my favourite comic book images is the very last panel in the first issue of The New Gods, of this sort of craggy, rocky face, standing with his cloak sort of blowing behind him in the wind. It's sort of indelible image which I've always remembered. So yeah, I was a big Kirby fan.
Very cool.
And Batman, I like Batman as well. For DC, apart from the Kirby DC, the DC I like was mainly Batman.
Very good. Well, we're big Batman fans as well.
Clearly, I wouldn't have guessed.
Actually, I want to kill him, but you know.
Of course you do every time.
But is there a place we can check out your stuff, like you say online?
Oh yeah, www.hearstpublishing.com is my publisher. They're based in Britain, but they ship everywhere. So please give one a try.
Very cool. Well, thanks for being on the show.
Cheers. Thank you.